There are those who argue, who think if you're a single voter on crypto, that this could lose her the election if she doesn't come out and embrace it. Look, Trump was all for the not taxing tips. Now she's all for. Do you think she will ultimately embrace crypto as an industry?
Breaking news in crypto today. The Democratic presidential candidate, Kamala Harris, set to embrace Bitcoin and the crypto industry, according to Republican Vivek Ramaswamy.
I predict her verbiage will. And I do think that part of the reason why is you see Trump's speech at the Bitcoin conference. It's just a matter of competing for votes that she's going to adopt a thoughtful position.
And what policies specifically will Kamala Harris adopt?
The metric to use is how specific she actually gets on those policy proposals.
Because Bitcoin should be bipartisan.
It should not be a partisan issue.
Bitcoin is for everybody.
And it is open source code designed to offer property rights to the globe. And I think there's probably been a little bit of panic ahead of the DNC that the party may have alienated some young voters who are finally catching up economically because of Bitcoin. And you're right, there are people within the party who recognize this technology is useful. It is American at its core. It empowers the average person. And the U.S. should be a leader in supporting Bitcoin.
Now the Democrats outside of Kamala have launched the official Crypto for Harris campaign to counter Trump's industry appeal. Billionaire Mark Cuban has continued to receive multiple questions from Kamala Harris about crypto.
You're supporting Kamala Harris for president, right?
Correct.
Okay. I'm supporting Donald Trump for president.
But how does Vivek see this Democratic support from Kamala happening?
Now, speaking as an American, not from a partisan perspective, I think that's a good thing. I think we should want great debate in the marketplace of ideas. Even if she offers a thoughtful digital assets framework or policy, even if I don't agree with all of it, I think that'll be a good thing for the country. But what I challenge Kamala Harris to do is not just cite the pieties in the words. Go into detail. Say what you actually believe about self-custody of assets. Say what you actually believe about whether you think Gary Gensler should continue as the leader of the SEC. So I think those specifics are going to matter a lot, Kelly.
For sure, but is what you're saying is just a general position of openness is probably all the industry really is looking for. This idea that it's not a partisan issue, that Republicans are for it and Democrats are against it.
It should not be a partisan issue. Now, what I think you are seeing is this tendency to really embrace whatever wins her the most votes. But when you're looking at your question, Andrew, of how do you assess the seriousness of that, the metric to use is how specific she actually gets on those policy proposals.
So everybody will eventually be for crypto. That's like saying everybody is for the internet or tools, a hammer. It's for everybody. But the policies for the presidential candidates, that's the key. Donald Trump is promising self-custody to commute Ross Ulbricht's sentence, never allow the creation of a CBDC in the United States. Also, Trump is promising to fire Gary Gensler, which is a big one. And of course, treat crypto fairly, meaning develop a presidential council of people who like crypto to make the common sense regulation give this industry clarity.
The policy of my administration, United States of America, to keep 100% of all the Bitcoin the U.S. government currently holds or acquires into the future.
RFK Jr. is promising no taxes on Bitcoin, backing the U.S. dollar with Bitcoin, put the U.S. budget on the blockchain. Both want to bring crypto to the U.S. Kamala needs to make her policies specific, and maybe even a sign of goodwill that she means it. Maybe fire Gary Gensler immediately while she's in office now as VP. And I know what you're going to say, the vice president doesn't have the power to make those firings, but she could convince Joe Biden, and then that would be a sign that she's serious, she's here for real. And breaking news as of today, Marathon Digital, one of the largest Bitcoin miners in the US, to raise $250 million to buy more Bitcoin.
Mining company Marathon Digital plans to offer $250 million in convertible notes in order to buy more Bitcoin.
So they're pulling a Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy, selling stock, taking on debt to buy Bitcoin. This is on top of MicroStrategy raising another $2 billion to pump into BTC. And just to be clear on how this works,
those notes would mature in 2031 and pay interest semi-annually in March and September, beginning on March 1st of 2025. Now, as a refresher, convertible notes are debt that a company can take on, but rather than paying back the principal and interest, investors are paid back with equity in the company. Around noon Eastern, Marathon stock had fallen more than 6.5% after the announcement.
So because these convertible notes, when mature in 2031, as long as you believe, and more importantly, Marathon Digital believes, that Bitcoin will be a whole lot higher by the year 2031, then this is an epic move. This could make them a lot of money. Now, of course, if Bitcoin is a lot lower in 2031, then they messed up. And just in, crypto lender Celsius is suing Tether, the stablecoin issuer, for $2.4 billion over BTC liquidation.
Bankrupt crypto lender Celsius is suing Tether in the hopes of clawing back tens of thousands of Bitcoin, now worth billions of dollars at today's price. Celsius said it filed a lawsuit to, quote, avoid and recover preferential and fraudulent transfers of 39,542 Bitcoin to Tether. Celsius claims Tether sought to improve its position at a time when debtors were, quote, tumbling towards bankruptcy and the price of Bitcoin was collapsing violently. As a result, Celsius claims Tether insulated itself from the impact of the crypto lender's bankruptcy through several more requests for collateral. Now, as part of this lawsuit, Celsius is asking the court to order the return of tens of thousands of Bitcoin, claiming it was preferentially transferred, and award them no less than $100 million in damages for Tether's alleged breaches of contract. This morning, Tether responded to the suit in a blog post, saying it would defend itself against a, quote, shakedown by Celsius.
So Celsius is claiming that Tether breached its token agreement with Celsius when it applied the company's property, Bitcoin, held as collateral to pay itself for Celsius's outstanding loan. So the claws are out when there's deaths in any ecosystem like Celsius. People fight tooth and nail to the bitter end. And I know you're asking the question, if BlackRock and Fidelity and these ETF issuers are actively buying, why aren't we at 100K already? Well, Bitcoin would be probably only at 20K, if not for these ETFs.
I think if you take the ETFs out of the picture, the price of Bitcoin is like 20 grand, because it was 30 when BlackRock filed. It started to go up because, oh, BlackRock's coming in. Then they launched. There was little sell the news, but it hung tough. Now it went up a lot because of the flows. You unwind all that, you're at 30K, but you still have Mt. Gox and some of these other in Germany, and who's there to buy it? So I think the ETFs should be seen as nothing short of a godsend, to be honest with you. And I know Bitcoin has other things going on for it. I read up a lot about it, and I think it's a fascinating currency, secure way to store value. And I'm definitely intrigued. That said, pure price, I think that the ETFs really came at the perfect time, to be honest with you. And I think that so when I see people get all crazy when it goes like 56, I'm like, honestly, it should be about 20, so just relax.
And everybody be sure to come out and hang out at Token 2049 in September. This will be one of the biggest side events in the city. That's Web3 with Toby and Brent. Link down below. Highly recommend you sign up earlier. There's free drinks, epic DJs. See you there. Like always, see you tomorrow.